Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of System of Equations with Elimination. We're doing a more advanced systems of equations now, where it's not as easy to add the two equations. So something like, where is it? This one up here. It's easy to add these two equations because we already have opposite coefficients for number 4. But for something like number 15, for example, it's a little bit more difficult. For 15, we'd have to multiply one of the equations. In this case, it's not too bad. We could either multiply this equation by -4 to get the x's to line up, since the bottom equation's coefficient is a factor of the top equation's coefficient. Or we could multiply this bottom equation by 3, which I would do because it's smaller, because of these coefficients here. Because the coefficient right here, -15, has 5 as a factor. So that makes it a little bit easier to get them to line up there, okay? Those are those ones. Let's go ahead and do that then, just so you can see what that's like. So we're going to have -3x minus, plus 15y equals, what is that, -39? And then on top, we have -4x minus 15y equals -17. Okay, so we're going to add these two equations because we already have opposite coefficients with these guys right here. Okay, so we're going to add these two together. We get -7x. These cancel away, and then we add these two, and we get, what is that, 56? Yeah, -56. So we're going to divide both sides by -7, and we get x equals +8. Once we get that, we can plug it into either equation. My opinion is probably better to do the bottom one because it's a little smaller numbers. So we have negative, and then we have 8 plus 5y equals -13. We're going to add 8 to both sides. And we're going to get -5 equals 5y. And then we divide by 5, and we get y equals -1. So our answer is 8, -1 for this problem. Okay, so that's number 15. Now, let's go over to a more difficult problem, and that's number 17. Now, in this case, we don't have factors, coefficients of the bottom or top. So notice how 4 isn't a factor of 7, and 8 is not a factor of 9. So what do you do in this case? We're going to have to do the ugly option, which is multiply both equations by something to get the coefficients to be opposites. So what do? Well, I always try to pick the smallest number multiplied possible. So I'm looking at these guys because I just need to multiply this by 7 and this by 4. If I wanted these guys to match up, I would have to multiply this by 9 and this by 8, which I don't feel like doing because that's too big. So what I'm going to do instead is multiply by 7 and 4 like I showed. But one needs to be negative because these are both negative and they need to be opposites. So I'm going to make this one negative. I'm going to make this -4, then I'm multiplying the top, and I'll make this +7, I'm multiplying the bottom. So what does that do? Yeah, let's just roll with it since I wrote it already. So we have in the top, we're going to have positive 28x plus 32y equals -36. In the bottom equation, I'm going to have -28x plus 63y equals, now we have to multiply 22 times 7. Give me a moment. So we have 22 times 7, and that's 154. So that's -154. Okay. Big numbers here. That's okay. Nothing we can't handle. We add the two together because we have opposite coefficients here and here. And then we get that this is 95y. Okay, 95y equals 36 plus 56. Is that 190? -190? I think it is. -190. Okay, so I know that goes in twice. So we're going to divide by 95. And we get y equals -2. Goes in 2 times. So now what I'm going to do is I insert this into either equation. So let's go ahead and plug it into the bottom one. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's do the top one so we can get a positive value for after we multiply -2. So we have -7x. And actually what we can do is we can plug it into any equation. We can even do the ones that we modified. But since the numbers are so big, I'm just going to go with one of the original equations. So I'm going to go with negative 7. If we label these number 1 and 2, 1, 2, I'm going to go with the top equation 1. So negative 7x, because now I need to find x, minus 8 times, this is negative 2, equals 9. So this isn't too bad. We have negative 7x plus 16 equals 9. I'm going to subtract both sides by 16. Go figure, I get negative 7 equals negative 7x. I divide by negative 7 to both sides, get x alone, and we have x equals positive 1. So my final answer is going to be 1 for my x value, negative 2 for my y value, and this is where they intersect, the two equations. Okay, let's do one more like this. I guess number 20, this one looks kind of easy, or should I do a more difficult one? Let's go number 20. So number 20, we see that we have neither the top or the bottom are coefficients are factors of each other. So we need to get them to line up. I think I'm going to line up the 3 and the 5. No, I'm going to line up the 5 and the 2 just because we multiply by smaller numbers. So I'm lining up the y's. Okay. What I mean by lining them up is I'm trying to get them to be opposite coefficients. So I need to multiply this top one. I'm going to multiply the top one by negative 5. I'm going to multiply the bottom one by positive 2. What happens when I do that? I get a negative 15x plus 10y equals negative 10. Then I have positive 10x minus 10y equals 20. What number is this? Negative 10? Okay. So I'm going to add these two together. Plus. So I have negative 15x plus 10x. That gives me negative 5x. Those canceled, and I'm left with equals 20 plus a negative 10. Gives me 10. I divide by negative 5. Divide by negative 5. I get x equals negative 2. So I get x equals negative 2. Okay, and now I plug that into either equation. I can plug it into the purple ones or the original ones. I'm going to go original just because they're smaller. That's generally the smart move to do. So I'm going to plug it into the top equation just because we have smaller coefficients yet. So I'm going to do 3 times negative 2 in parentheses minus 2y. I'm solving for y now, so I can get my location. I get negative 6 minus 2y equals 2. I add 6 to both sides. I get negative 2y equals 8. Divide by negative 2. Divide by negative 2, and I get y equals negative 4. So my final answer is going to be negative 2, comma, negative 4. Okay, now that we're done with that, I want to talk about two special cases. I don't know if it's going to happen here. I don't think it will. But let's say we are eliminating, and we get this situation where we have x plus y equals 10, and then negative x minus y equals 10. Or negative 10, okay? And we're going to add. Well, we add these to eliminate, and we get 0 equals 0. If you get this, that's because it's the same line. So if it's the same line right on top of itself, okay, it's the same line right on top of itself, that means there's infinite solutions, okay? So if you ever get that case where they eliminate everything on the left and eliminate everything on the right, it's infinite solutions, okay? Now, let's say we get something like this. X plus y equals 12, negative x minus y equals 10. Okay, and we add these two together. So once we add them together, we eliminate, so we get 0 on the left equals 22 on the right. Okay, 0 is not equal to 22. This is false, so this is no solutions. These are parallel lines, and they never touch. So these are parallel lines. Okay, so that's something just to consider if you ever get a situation like that. I know it's not part of this worksheet tutorial, but it's still important to know. So that was part 2 of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. Make sure to watch and comment if you have any questions or you want me to cover a certain topic. Till next time, be good, be kind, be true, be nice, and be honest. Have a great day.